Hey everyone, Craig here today with your morning devotion. Today we're going to turn to the book of James. We're going to talk about living life backwards. I remember whenever I was in high school, I think it was, you have different spirit days, right? Things that everybody pulls together and does and participates in. One of those days was wear your favorite sports jersey day. And so I wore my Team Canada hockey jersey. And another day was dress backwards day, and dress backwards day is usually more in like a primary school, right? And you see kids getting off the bus and they've got their shirts on backwards, they got their pants on backwards, their coats are on backwards, unbuttoned up in the back, and they've got their school bags on the front, and it's kind of funny to look at, and everybody, walks around. Maybe some people even just walk backwards. But backwards day was a fun day, a fun spirit day in primary school and stuff like that. But as much as it's fun to joke around, you wouldn't want to live your life backwards. You wouldn't want to live your life walking backwards all the time, putting your clothes on backwards. It's uncomfortable. It's kind of funny, right, to do as a spirit day, but it's uncomfortable if you're going to do it long term. So today we're going to talk about living life backwards. The book of James, it's not a very long book, just a handful of chapters. We're picking it up in chapter 2 because basically chapter after chapter, James is talking about things that are a little bit backwards. So starting off in chapter 2, he says, look, listen up, listen up. If somebody comes into your assembly and they are dressed in finery, they're rich, right? They've got a gold ring on their finger. They've got a very nice clothing on. And so a very rich and wealthy person comes into your assembly. And at the same moment, right behind him, a guy walks in and he doesn't have the nicest cologne on. He smells a little bit more like the dirty street that is his home, because he's homeless and he's got, it says vile clothing on, vile raiment. His clothes are, they got a couple holes in them and it's not designer intentions. And it's written, it's like, guys, whenever these two people, in this hypothetical situation, walk into your assembly, walk into your house, walking into wherever, and you say to the rich guy, hey, you can sit in the place of honor. And you say to the poor guy, you can go kind of sit in the corner where I don't have to smell you. He's like, what are you doing? You're living your life backwards. Why are you showing great favor to the rich person? He says, my brothers, isn't it the rich people who are persecuting you? Verse number 6, do not rich men oppress you and draw you before the judgment seat? It's the rich people who are taking advantage of you. It's the rich people who aren't paying you what you deserve in your wages. It's the rich people taking advantage of you, bringing you to court, extorting you for more money, and you're giving them the places of honor. What are you doing? Why are you having respect to persons? Why are you showing so much favor to the rich person who is the very person who during the week is taking you to court and suing you? What are you guys doing? Value is not shown by the clothes that people wear. Well, why are you giving this kind of respect to somebody who doesn't even deserve this type of respect? Why are you showing favor? Why are you starstruck and showing favor to the rich person who is taking advantage of you? If you have respect to persons, you commit sin. You're doing it wrong. You shouldn't favor the rich person just because they're rich. You shouldn't chase after the rich person because they are just rich. They're the people who are mistreating you. Smarten up, guys. You are living your life backwards. You're living your life backwards. And then we get to chapter 3. Yes, we are skipping quite a number of things, but we get to chapter 3. And in chapter 3, he's talking about the tongue, and he's saying, whenever you guys are in church, you're praising God, and you're saying, God, you are wonderful. God, I love you. I worship you. I praise you. I bless you. God, you are so good to me. And then you go out and it's not Sunday anymore, and you're going to work, and somebody cuts you off in traffic, and you're cussing them out in your car. And he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing misusing your tongue like this? You're living your life backwards. Out of the verse number 10 in chapter number 3, out of the same mouth proceeds blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. He says, if you go to a fountain, right? If you go to the grocery store and you buy bottled water, and you're like, oh man, I am so thirsty, right? You just did a hike or something, you're thirsty, you get out your bottled water and you take a drink, and it's just salty ocean water. Well, that's not what you would expect. No, he says a fountain doesn't produce both bitter and sweet water. That's not how it works. If the label on the bottle is pure, natural spring water, and you pop it open, you get salty ocean water, you're going to be disgusted. And James is kind of, in the book of James, it's like, this is kind of how God is looking at you. You've got the label of Christian on your life, and yet I taste what you're living, I taste your actions, and it's kind of gross. You're living your life backwards. Does a fig tree bear olive berries? No, you're living your life one way here and you're another there, and out of the same mouth where you are praising God, you are cursing out the people who are made in God's image. What are you doing? You're doing it all backwards. And then we get to chapter 4. And he says, look, you guys have so much infighting among you. You've got so many quarrels among your group of people. You are desiring after what other people have, and you're trying to obtain it, and you can't obtain it. And so you fight and you war and you have disagreements, and you have not because you ask not. You're not asking God for anything, so he's not giving you anything. And then more so to that, you are asking God for things and you don't even receive them because you're not even asking with the proper motivations. You're just asking to fulfill the own lust of your flesh. You're asking God for things because it's your own personal desire to have certain possessions. Maybe you're asking God for financial blessings. Well, you're asking God that not because maybe you need financial blessings, but because you are actually just wanting to abuse the finances that you want God to give you. And then go buy a bunch of stuff that you don't even need, and it's going to lead you to more sin anyway. So you are asking amiss. You are asking amiss. You guys are living your life backwards. It's just chapter after chapter. James is getting after them. He's kind of pointing the finger at them. He's saying, guys, stop living your life backwards. Stop living your life backwards. And so today I'm not here to, condemn you, but it's just a reminder whenever we read through these things of just check your life, check what you're doing and how you're living, and make sure you're not living your life backwards. And whenever things get out of alignment, right? Whenever things are getting a little off course, then we just bring them back. We bring them back. If we have one backwards day, all right, we're going to bring it back the next day. And how do we bring it back? How do we bring it back and stop living our life backwards? James 4, we start at verse 7. Submit yourselves to God. Submit yourselves to God. You are submitting your will and your life to him. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. These desires that you have, they are not of God. They are not of him. They are of the devil. And so bring your desires, bring your flesh into submission. Verse number 8, draw close to God, and he will draw close to you. Cleanse your hands, purify your hearts, you double-minded, and humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up. And so today is really just a reminder. Guess what? Yeah, sometimes we mess up and we go a little amiss, and sometimes what we're asking for isn't exactly in the right mind, or it's not in the vein or in the heart or in the mind of God. Okay, all right, we messed up, we got off track today, but guess what? We can get back, we can put our clothes back on the proper way, we can rearrange our mind back to the proper way, stop living our life backwards, and as we submit to God and draw closer to him, he will make our paths straight. All right, I hope this blesses you. I hope this encourages you. Take care, and God bless you.